Missing Link is now in theaters, and it is the latest animated film, specifically Claymation. And it's specifically the same studio that did films such as Paranorman, Kubo and the Two Strings. And I'm not going to lie, before I get into the premise, I'm not going to lie. I would have seen this film. I try to see as many movies as possible. I would have seen this film if it wasn't for Larry of LC Screen Talk, because he did a ranking video of all of the films that the studio has done, which including Missing Link, and I was like, oh my goodness, it's a Claymation film. And I really dig Claymation because I find that it is breathtaking to see the fact that a 90-minute feature of people just slowly moving clay, and it looking like, 2D animation, well, 3D animation, I should say. It's amazing. It's incredible. I think I probably have the most respect for Claymation in terms of animation. So again, just throwing out the shout out to Larry. And enough of that exposition, let's get to the premise. So Missing Link is about Mr. Link, as you guessed it, recruiting an explorer named Sir Lionel Frost to help him find his long lost relatives. Simple premise, I know, but at the same time, these characters are fascinating. And this is probably the best rendition of Around the World in 80 Days, because when I was watching the film, I was like, this premise is very, very familiar. And then I was like, oh my goodness, it's Around the World in 80 Days, just the best version possible of it. I'm not going to lie, I loved this movie. I simply adored this movie. And I was not expecting it, because yes, I had the bias of I like Claymation, but at the same time, animated films are so hard to actually hit home for me. There are so many obstacles in the way oftentimes. Juvenile humor, messages that are very simplistic and don't actually have depth to them. All of these complaints that I have for a lot of animated films got thrown away with this film, because this movie had a lot of good messages that actually hit home and resonated with even someone such as myself that, might be considered cynical to some. Characters that are very interesting and you can latch on to, even though they're animated. And then voice acting that's top notch. Hugh Jackman is great in the film. Zach Galifianakis is incredible. Timothy Olyphant is great. It's nice to hear his voice, especially since I know him best through Deadwood. And then Zoe Saldana is also charming in the film. And it was also nice to hear Carter Burwell's score, because when I was watching the film, I was listening and I was like, this is a great score. I was like, it kind of sounds like someone's riffing on Carter Burwell. And then as soon as the film ended, I looked it up. I was like, oh my goodness, it's Carter Burwell. It makes sense why the score was so great. So top-notch animation, great score, brilliant, brilliant animation, messages that resonate at home. What's wrong with this film? Honestly, it's really nitpicky. I would say that there are some moments towards the end that don't 100% work to me. It's stuff that involves when, and again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but when certain characters get to a certain destination, there's certain things that occur, and I'm like, it's a bit extreme. I don't know if that actually would occur. But again, that's just my opinion. I also don't know how this will hold up upon second viewing, because it is a comedy. Yes, the messages and everything worked for me, but first and foremost, I laughed a lot during this film. And with a comedy, it's most important a second time to be able to hold true that the laughs actually hold up. And I haven't seen this movie a second time. The first time, yes, the laughs held up. But a second time, I don't know. And I'm hoping that it is the case where it does hold up, because again, I really did like this film. And if you haven't seen any of my other videos for animated films, I am very hard on animated films. I find a lot of animated films to just be either 3 out of 5 or less. They're just okay movies, But a film like this, Missing Link, that comes out, that is both charming for adults and kids alike, that is how you make an animated film done well. And just children films in general, because those are the films that people can remember. Those are the films that people can say, oh, I watched that as a kid. Rewatching it actually holds up. Not, oh my goodness, I have so much nostalgia for that movie. And then they rewatch it and like, wow, that was bad. So it's films like these that actually are good children films that can actually be rewatched and be like, you know what? I can take stuff as an adult from that film as well, instead of just looking at it as a kid, disposable entertainment. So that's why I just really enjoyed Missing Link. And that's why me personally, I'll be giving Missing Link a 4.5 and a 5-star rating, or for those like a hot sauce rating, it's like an old Tabasco rating. So this is probably one of my favorite films from the studio. I liked Paranorman, Kubo and the Two Strings, I enjoyed, but I would say this is probably my favorite. Coraline was good too, but I don't know. I would say this is probably my favorite of this studio. Keiki, I think there's. I know I'm butchering the name. I'm not even going to bother saying it, but I dig it. But guys, what's your favorite film from this studio? And did you like Missing Link? Or if you haven't seen it and you have any questions about it, let me know your questions or comments in the comment section below. And as always, thank you very much, guys, for watching. Don't forget the subscription, notification bell, and I'll catch you guys later.